What's up, nerds? I'm the Renegade Cactus, but you can call me whatever you want. Welcome to part 2 of a Magic the Gathering booster pack opening. We got some more New Capenna and Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, and also Innistrad Mitternachtsjagd, which means Midnight Hunt. It's the German version, of course. Now, what do I mean with part 2? Some of you might ask. And the answer is, well, I got a bunch of cards, and I recorded part 1, and then I completely forgot to record part 2 until a friend was like, hey, where's part 2? And I was like, I already did that, didn't I? And then I found all the boosters and I was like, oh, no, I didn't. And yeah, now I'm here and it's been 4 months. I recorded the first part in September. Anyway, let's jump right in. Another small apology, I have this pack here which is already opened. Why is it already opened? Because I already started recording this episode before I realized that I wasn't recording, at least not the audio. So yeah, it is already opened, sorry for that, but we're still gonna jump in and take a look at what we got. We got a Goblin token, got Minimus Containment, Arcane Investigator. What is that? I haven't really opened any of the Dungeons & Dragons boosters so far. So, search the room, cost 6 and roll a d20. Okay, and if you roll 1 to 9, draw a card. If you roll 10 to 20, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. That's pretty cool. I liked it. I mean, it is D&D after all, so of course you gotta roll dice. We got the Brazen Dwarf. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. Cool. To each opponent. Ooh. Plummet, destroy target creature with flying. I mean, it's a classic. Thieves' Tools. Whenever Thieves' Tools enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creatures can't be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less, and you gotta equip it. Direwolf Prowler. Direwolf Prowler gets +2/+2 and gains haste until the end of turn. Activate only once each turn. Clattering Skeletons. When Clattering Skeleton dies, venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room or advance to the next room. Ooh, that one is cool. I've heard of the room thing, but basically I have no idea what it does. But this one is awesome. Sacrifice Mimic, add 1 mana of any color, and Mimic becomes a shapeshifter artifact creature with base power and toughness 3 until 3/3 until the end of turn. Cool. When Vampire Spawn enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's always a good card. Gretchen Titchwillow. Draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Ooh. Ooh. Maybe it costs 4, but still, damn. Choose 1. 2 weapon fighting. Double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Or archery. This spell deals 5 damage to target creature with flying. That's cool. Black Dragon. Flying. Acid Breath. When Black Dragon enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Mind Flayer. Also really cool. So these are... Oh, by the way, this is our rare. Yeah. These are... classic D&D monsters. Like, I mean, the Mimic, everybody knows the Mimic. The Mind Flayer is, I think, one of the most well-known D&D creatures. It has Dominate Monster. When Mind Flayer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. Ooh. Then we got Mountain. Oh, the mountains with flavor texts. As you make camp near the ancient ruin, you hear the sound of drums echoing in halls where no dwarf has lived in generations. The Balrog of Morgoth. And then we got an island. In crystal-studded waters far below the surface, you've discovered an incubating egg of mysterious origin. Don't touch the egg. Like, people, don't touch the egg. Okay, that's the first pack. That's the one that I already opened. I think I just took a look at the rare then, but yeah. Now, let's go back to one more New Capenna. And for one reason or another, I only have one of them left. Then we're gonna jump back into D&D. And then in between, we're gonna open the 3 German Midnight Hunt packs. I'm gonna do my best to explain what they do in English. Okay, we get one of these things. Maestro's Theater. When Maestro's Theater enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, search your library for a basic island, swamp, or mountain card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, and you gain 1 life. Holy! I mean, I'm not a great Magic the Gathering player, so I could be totally wrong, but that seems awesome. Like, it's a fetch land, and you gain 1 life. Damn. Sewer Crocodile. Can't be blocked this turn. This ability costs 3 less to activate if there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard. Huh. Revel Ruiner. Menace can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. When Revel Ruiner enters the battlefield, it connives. Draw a card, then discard a card. If you discarded a non-land card, put a +1/+1 card on a counter on this creature. Huh. Raffine's Informant. When Raffine's Informant enters the battlefield, it connives. Same thing. Wrecking Crew, Reach, and Trample. Glittermonger. Okay, I love this. Glittermonger. Create a treasure token. Yeah, makes sense. Waterfront District enters the battlefield tapped. Add blue or black. Sacrifice Waterfront District, draw a card. Sure, it's a classic. Run Out of Town. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it on the top or bottom of their library. Owner of target non-land permanent, sure, puts it on top or bottom of the library. I guess you choose, right? Because you play the card and it doesn't say they choose where to put it, they just put it there, right? I'm not sure who chooses. Let me know if you know. Civic Gardener. Whenever Civic Gardener attacks, untap target creature or land. Glamorous Outlaw. When Glamorous Outlaw enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you scry 2, which means you take a look at the first 2 cards of your library. And you can put them back in any order. That's it. Exile Glamorous Outlaw from your hand. Target land gains add blue, black, or red until Glamorous Outlaw is cast from exile. You may cast Glamorous Outlaw for as long as it remains exiled. That is pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. I like that. Venom Connoisseur. Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Venom Connoisseur gains Death Touch until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, all creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. Holy, so if you play two creatures, basically. You play this, and the next turn you play 2 creatures, and all of your creatures gain Death Touch. That's awesome. I think you can build a whole deck around that. I think. Refined Silencer, or Raffines. I called it Raffines earlier. Silencer. When Raffine Silencer enters the battlefield, it connives. When Raffine Silencer dies, target creature an opponent controls gains -X/-X until end of turn, where X is Raffine Silencer's power. Forge Boss. Whenever you sacrifice 1 or more other creatures, Forge Boss deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only once each turn. Okay, and a rare. Depopulate. Each player who controls a multicolored creature draws a card, then destroy all creatures. Holy. Yeah, for 4 mana, that's... Damn. That's something. Let's go back to D&D. Yeah. Token stuff. Alright, Minimus Confinement. Arcane Investigator, Brazen Dwarf, Plummet, Thief. Wait, okay. So the first 5 cards were the exact same as our already opened pack. And only now we got a different one. This is almost Pokemon Dimensions. When Priest of Ancient Lore enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Improvised Weaponry. Improvised Weaponry deals 2 damage to any target. Create a treasure token. Nice. Clattering Skeletons, we already had them. Devour Intellect. Ah, that looks gross. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast this spell, instead that player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, then that player discards that card. Huh. Vampire Spawn, we've already seen that. Hulking Bugbear. Haste. Okay. Keen-eared Sentry. You have hexproof. You can't be the... Wait, you have hexproof. You can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls. Oh! Each opponent can't venture into the dungeon more than once each turn. Okay, but you have hexproof is kind of awesome. Ray of Enfeeblement. Target creature gets -4/-1 until end of turn. If that creature is white, it gets -4/-4 until the end of turn instead. Yay! Orb of Dragonkind. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon spells or activate abilities of dragons. Or, okay, so it costs 1 and tap, but basically you gain 1 mana for that. Or sacrifice Orb of Dragonkind. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Interesting. If you have this card like 3 times. And then, of course, a mountain. You venture deep into the heart of the mountain to determine what can calm its quaking rage. Dum dum dum. Alright, let's open up the draft pack of Midnight Hunt. Is there an easy way to open it, or do I just rip that stuff open? It's just ripping open. Okay, got it. Thank you. Alright, we got it. We got it somehow. How the hell is this? Yeah, there's probably a way easier way to open that, but I don't care. I'm impatient. We got 3 Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Mitternachtsjagd. And we're gonna open the first one. You know, in some cases I really like German. German is it can be a really cool German can really be a cool language at times. And other times it just sucks. It's the Silberschmied aus Gavin. It's a silversmith from Gavin. Once he comes into play, put a 1/1 counter on up to 2 creatures of your choosing. That's not bad. Oops. Plummet. Kill a flying creature. Schwefelvandale. Vandal is Vandal, and Schwefel was Sulfur, I think? Sulfur Vandal, I guess. Menace. If it's neither night nor day, it becomes day once he enters the battlefield. And every time day turns to night or night turns to day, you deal 1 damage to each enemy. I'm so good at translating. I'm not gonna try at all to translate this name. It's flying, and once it comes into play, put up to 1 card from any graveyard into the exile. Nice. It's a creature enchantment, and it says enchant a creature. I mean, yes. Oh, otherwise it would say creature enchantment. Whatever. Okay, the enchanted creature gets +2/-2. Eccentric Farmer or something like that. Once she comes into play, mill 3 cards. Then you can put 1 card from your 1 land card from your graveyard onto your hand. Okay, once this one comes into play, create 2/2/2 zombie creature tokens with Verwesung. I don't know, decay or something like that. If you do that, put up to 2 cards from any creature from any graveyard into exile. Exile 2 cards from any graveyard. That's better. You put a permanent card that's not a land, a non-land permanent, on the hand, back to the hand of their owner. If it's your card, draw a card. Alright, Flash, creature, enchantment. When it comes into play, enchanted creature, if enchanted creature is a wolf or werewolf, untap it, and the creature gets +2/+2 and vigilance. Alright, trample, and it's stay active. Oh, I'm not sure what it's in English. So basically, if it turns night to day, and in the night, it's damn, that looks cool. Trample and night active. So day and night thing, the usual. If this comes into play, and if your enemy or opponent had lost life points this turn, it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and X is the amount of vampires that you control. Nice. Okay. It's an artifact, and if you... Oh, what's the word? Destroy? No? Damn, what's the word? If you destroyed yourself. Whatever, you know what I mean. If you destroyed yourself, sacrifice, that's it. Look through your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or a standard land. Show it, put it on your hand, shuffle your library. Great. Create a mana of a color of your choosing and transform that thing. Huh. Interesting. Lands you control have tap and create a mana of your choosing. Interesting. And then we got the Curse of Silence. It enchants a player. You know what? I'm not gonna translate the other ones. Maybe just the rare. Because this just takes way too long for my liking. So again, it enchants a player. If it comes, as soon as it comes into play, you choose a card name. Spells with that name cost 2 more for the enchanted player. And every time the enchanted player plays a spell with said name, you can sacrifice this card and then draw a card. Ooh, got a bet. I don't care. I love those swamps, those lands. They are so beautiful. It's incredible. Like, I think Innistrad had the most beautiful of all the lands. And maybe Kaldheim. But yeah, you know what? We're gonna go through Innistrad first. Because again, I don't wanna... It would take too long if I try and tell you about... Like, try and translate all the cards. So we're just gonna go through them like this. I love this picture so much. Because it's a play on a classic picture. I don't know what it's called. I don't know who painted it. But we all know it, basically. I hate this picture. This creeps me out. Alright, we got... Oh god, eye creatures. Sure, eye creatures. Damn. That's a furry fight. Okay, this one turns. So it's just a 1 mana 1/1. I just want to read what this does. 1 mana 1/1, and for 3 mana, and sacrifice a creature, draw a card, and transform this guy, and activate this ability only once per turn. And then it becomes a 4/4. That's not bad for a 1 mana. But then again, you have to sacrifice a creature. But if you have token creatures, whatever. Alright, this one, this one, this one, and we got a rare Denik. Something, whatever. Lifelink. Cards in... Damn. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. That is interesting. And for 4 mana, I don't know what this is called in English, sorry, but you can play it for these costs transformed out of your graveyard. And this is the transform card, Flying. When one or more creature cards get put on the graveyard from somewhere, on a graveyard, so yeah. One or more creature cards from somewhere onto one or more graveyards. Put whatever. Do something. Oh God. I don't know what Nachforschungen is in English. I'm very sorry. I don't know the ability. This ability can only be used once a turn. Oh wait, it tells me in the brackets. I'm stupid. Create one colorless clue token with 2 and sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. Huh. So if multiple cards get put on the graveyard, you get a token that lets you draw a card for 2. And if he gets put on the graveyard, put it in exile instead. That's an interesting card. Not saying it's a great card, but it is an interesting card. And especially like the cards in your graveyard can't be the target of. Okay, we got it. Day and night. But yeah, cards in your graveyard can't be the target of spells or abilities is really interesting. Ooh. Fetch land. Vampires. Stuff. More stuff. I just look at the pretty pictures. I'm gonna read them for myself later on. Okay, it's a hippogriff. And it transforms into a hippogriff ghost. A weird one. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. You know, I'm a sucker for beautiful cards. But that is our last uncommon. Damn, I love these cards. And here we got a rare. Catilda, Morning Light Primer, something like that. The first one, the biggest one, the chief. Protection from werewolves. All right. Human creatures you control have tap them and create a mana of a color of your choosing. Oh, wait, no. A color of your choosing of this creature. So this one could create either a green or a white mana. And for 6 mana and tap it, or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. That's actually quite cool. Oh, we got a forest and a foiled mountains, which you only see here in the border. That I really like. Oh no, wait. The actual picture is also foiled, but it's very hard to see. But that looks really cool. All right, 3 more packs. Let's go back to at least naming the cards, and we're gonna only read what the rares do. Okay, that was nothing. Zombie Ogre. You know what, I'm gonna read him. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon. Enter the first room or advance into the next room. Again, no idea what that actually does, but there's probably gonna be something. When Potion of Healing enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sacrifice Potion of Healing, you gain 3 life. Sure, nice. Scion of Stygia. Flash, Cone of Gold. When Scion of Stygia enters the battlefield, choose target creature and opponent controls, then roll a d20. 1 to 9, tap that creature. 10 to 20, tap that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That's cool. Valor Singer. Combat Inspiration. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Sure. Hill Giant Herd Gorger. Herd Gorger. When Hill Giant Herd Gorger enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. Sure. Spare Dagger. Spare some daggers? Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice Spare Dagger. When you do, this creature deals 1 damage to any target. Alright. Pixie Guide. Flying, grant an advantage. If you would roll one or more dice, instead roll that many dice plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. That's cool. Great Axe. That's a great axe. Equip creature gets +4/+0. Equip 5. Ranger's Hawk. Flying. Tap another untapped creature you control. Venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a source. I'm sorry. The T I had before. Activate only as a sorcery. I mean, 1 mana, 1/1 flying. That's pretty good. Critical hit. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. I hate the ability double strike. When you roll a natural 20, return critical hit from your graveyard to your hand. That is cool. That is cool. Power of Persuasion. That's Cho'Gall. Choose target creature an opponent controls, then roll a d20. Return it to its owner's hand, or 10 to 19, its owner puts it on top or bottom of their library, or 20, gain control of it until the end of your next turn. That's cool. Warlock class. Huh. Gain a level as a sorcery to add its ability. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. And then for 2 mana, you gain level 2. We gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. So I think you could, if you got all the mana, you can do it all in the same turn, I think. Whatever. When this class becomes level 2, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. That's an interesting mechanic. And for 7 mana, you become level 3. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Oh! So basically you double the damage you did this turn. Beginning of your end step. So it's an enchantment, which means this stays. Wow. So with these abilities, you at least do 2 damage each turn if a creature dies. This stays in play. Holy, that sounds really powerful. Volo, Guide to Monsters. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control, or a creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. Huh. So whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature you control or a creature card in your graveyard. So basically, if you don't have an archetype deck, like if an archetype deck would be if you have mostly or only zombies, or only or mostly humans, soldiers, angels, whatever. But if you play creatures that don't share any creature types with other creatures in your deck, or it doesn't matter if they're in your deck, but in your hand or you control or in a graveyard. That's it, sorry. Then you copy that. So basically you can put out quite a lot of creatures. If. Owlbear, of course they had to make an Owlbear card. I love it. Trample, Keen Senses, when Owlbear enters the battlefield, draw a card. Sure. And an island. Alarmed by the news you brought, the Storm Giant, King of the Maelstrom, has called his kin to council. Nice. Alright, 2 more. Let's rapid fire that. We're almost at 30 minutes. Got a skeleton, we got... Okay, that's a land, sorry. Zombie Ogre, Gloomstalker. As long as you've completed the dungeon, Gloomstalker has double strike. Scion of Stygia, already had that. Armory Veteran. As long as Armory Veteran is equipped, it has Menace. Can't be blocked by 2, except for 2 or more creatures. Bull Strength. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Untap it. Precipitous Drop. Enchant creature. When Precipitous Drop enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Enchanted creature gets -2/2. It gets -5/5 instead, as long as you've completed a dungeon. Interesting. Mimic, but a more boring version. Goblin Javelineer. Haste. When Goblin Javelineer becomes blocked, it deals 1 damage to target creature blocking it. That's 1 mana, 1/1. That's actually not bad. You hear something on watch. Choose 1. Rouse the party. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Or Set of Traps. This spell deals 5 damage to target attacking creature. That's a cool card. Ooh! Cradle of Baldur's Gate. Whenever Cradle of Baldur's Gate deals combat damage to a player, that player loses 1 life and builds a card. Then you gain 1 life and scry. Oh. If you combine it with the card we pulled from I don't know which booster where the card is unblockable until or it's unblockable if it's 3 or less power. That would be interesting. Whenever you attack, you may pay 2. If you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Or you just used its ability. I should have just read the rest. Goblin Morningstar. Crypt creature gets +1/+0 and has trample. When Goblin Morningstar enters the battlefield, roll a d20. 1 to 9, create a red goblin token. 1/1 red goblin token. And 10 to 20, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. Then attach Goblin Morningstar to it. That's not bad. Green Dragon. Flying. Poison Breath. When Green Dragon enters the battlefield until end of turn, whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, destroy it. Ooh. Asmodeus the Archfiend. Huh. Binding Contract. If you would draw a card, exile the top card of your library face down instead. 3. Okay, wait. At 3, draw 7 cards, which then activates the Binding Contract. If you would draw a card, exile the top card of your library. So instead of drawing 7 cards, you exile 7 cards. Oh, and then for 1, return all cards exiled with Asmodeus, the Archfiend, to their owner's hand, and you lose that much life. That is interesting. That sounds like very situational. You're ambushed on the road. Choose one. Make a retreat. Return target creature you control to its owner's hand, or stand and fight. Target creature gains +1/+3 until end of turn. Swamp. As you trudge through the sewers of Baldur's Gate, it dawns on you. Where are all the rats? I love flavor text. I really love flavor text in Magic cards. One of my favorite is I don't know what it's in English. Like I can't really just translate it in English right now. But it's on Banish. There is a quote from Romeo and Juliet, which I really do like. Ranger's Longbow. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and has reach, which means it can block flying creatures. Grim Bounty. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Create a treasure token. That's cool. Half-elf monk. Vigilance, stunning strike, 2 and tap target creature. It's okay, I think. Secret door. Defender. Venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. Sure. Fariday's Fireball. Fariday's Fireball deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Roll a d20. 1 to 9, Fariday's Fireball deals 2 damage to each player, or 10 to 20, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Interesting. So a guaranteed 5, and then either 2 to everyone or to just your opponents. Okay, Eltugard Ranger. Reach. When Eltugard Ranger enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. Okay, Ambush on the road. Underdark Basilisk. Oh, that looks so cool. Death Touch. Arborea Pegasus. Flying when Arborea Pegasus enters the battlefield, target creature gains +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Death Touch. When Yuan-Ti Fangblade deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Intrepid Outlander. Reach. Pack Tactics. Whenever Intrepid Outlander attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power of 6 or greater this combat, venture into the dungeon. That's a mouthful. It almost turns into Yu-Gi-Oh! Divine Smite. Target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls faces out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. If it faces out, treat it and anything attached to it as if they don't exist until the controller's next turn. So they're basically gone for a turn. Death Priest of Myrkul. Skeletons, vampires, and zombies you control gain +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. Nice. And, Drist Do'Urden, however you may pronounce this. Double Strike. When Drist Do'Urden enters the battlefield, create Guinevere, probably Guinevere, something like that. A legendary 4/1 green cat creature token with trample. Whenever a creature dies, if it had power greater than Drist's power, put a number of 1/1 counters on Drist equal to the difference. Interesting. And then a forest. As you venture deeper under the boughs of Neverwinter Wood, arrows in a tree trunk suggest you might not be welcome. But you are always welcome on my channel. Thank you, nerds, so much for watching. Sorry that it was a bit discombobulated and also a bit late, but thank you still for watching. I'm the Renegade Cactus and I gotta run. Bye bye.